Hey everybody, good energy to you guys. So, changing a reality. Oh, in my experience, the best way to help change a perception, this goes into epigenetics and also the word. I mean, the word of God, Yahushua, it's all about following the word, which is changing your ways from evil and perpetuating shit that's not good and, turning it to life, to God. And when you really the Bible, there's a lot in there. There's a lot of words in there, and I think that there's levels of everything. I think there's levels of faith too, and a lot of the Bible is about, in my opinion, learning to live, without needing all these worldly things. And it's ironic that it's such a popular religion, and yet we still live in a reality where people cherish their worldly things with such high esteem. It makes sense because this is where it goes into programming of America and how this society appears to be good. It appears to be something that God would even condone. You go to school, you pay your fucking taxes, you go to the store, you buy your food, you have entertainment, you have the choice to watch good entertainment, bad entertainment. In a lot of ways, it does look like, quote unquote, good society. But when you look into the intricate details of government and the type of things that government has allowed to perpetuate and where the government gets its power from and what are the forces that are actually pushing this culture of America that we live in, that's where things get away from the Bible. Honestly, if you look into the porn industry, and I'm somebody who spent a lot of years watching porn, so I know personally the effect that it does have on a human being, and it's bad in a lot of different ways. I do think it is responsible for a lot of this incel, which is a new word that I'm beginning to learn, but I do think that it does promote that type of a mentality of not feeling good enough to be around real women, of not being confident in yourself, of not even having the desire to find a real good romantic, deep, loving relationship because you always got porn you can go to. Especially in the times that we live in with everybody being so stressed out and busy and fucking, part of the rat race. It's a very convenient way to go about just satisfying your sexual desires. But those sexual desires, those longings are there for a good reason, and we have porn that gets in the way. It takes away the desire to have an intimate connection with another human being, because now we're putting our intimate energy, our sexual energy, which is very sacred, into a device, and then depending on the type of porn you watch, that has a whole fucking effect of its own. But just in general, every time I would go into Pornhub, it's literally like going into a fucking hellish dimension. And these are the type of things I think government really needs to begin to look at and question whether or not we should continue to allow industries like porn, also industries like fast food companies, industries that promote sin. Like there's a lot of movies out there. If you look at Netflix, the majority of the movies and stuff they show there are all about horror, violence, death. Like there's a lot of negativity, a lot of death, a lot of darkness, a lot of heaviness. In my opinion, this is all by design. So again, government is about controlling the mind. So if you have a government, you got to look at all the things that it's allowing to be, administered to the people. And so all these things, the movies, the sex, the porn, all these industries are being allowed to flourish. And we're enabling them, we are perpetuating them by giving them our attention. Even if we're not a part of partaking in these activities, we still live in a society that condones them. We still live in a society that is governing the minds of everybody else we're around and allowing these things to perpetuate. And if you look at this virus situation, it's just kept us all even more enclosed inside of our own dwellings, thus more susceptible to all these different types of temptations through these devices. Which is, again, how they can program us even more. Because you think about it, if, a lot of the programming does come from entertainment, in music and everything we get from this technology. So if you've got people locked in their houses, dependent on technology, with all these devices that just have continuously more avenues of entertainment and programming, It just makes sense. More people are going to pay more attention to the programmings and become more programmed. So there's a reason for all of this. There's a reason for everything. And again, this is why the government, I believe, of America has been corrupted. It's fraudulent. It is evil. It is appearing to be good when it is, in fact, evil. And it's continuing to kill our creativity. It's continuing to keep us separated. It's continuing to help perpetuate a beastly system that is, in my opinion, on the verge of transmutating the situation into an even more slave-based society, to where we're going to have less choices. We're going to have less abilities to do what we really want to do. We're going to have less creativity. We're going to have less love. It's just going to be shittier. Things are not going to get better until we decide to make the change and start doing better. And that means we got to get away from the money game. We got to start building our own infrastructure. We got to start developing nonprofit organizations. We got to stop doing the same shit we've been doing forever. And a lot of it has to do with us getting over our own houses. We got to liquidate the stuff we don't need, because all this extra stuff we have has a karmatic, energetic weight to it as well. So if you're somebody who's holding on to a lot of capital that you've developed through some evil ways, that's weighing you down. It really is. And but even as it's weighing you down, I want you to know that as soon as you take a step towards the Most High and help life out, you're not going to be as weighed down. It's that simple. And, this is something that doesn't have to happen like, there's levels to it. You can start with small. I mean, there's plenty of us here. We don't all have to just, not one person has to donate a fortune. There's so many of us here. If we all just give a little, we all help out a little, we all show a little bit of teamwork and camaraderie and honor and loyalty amongst ourselves and trust and work through our problems, we can get this done. But until we start talking in that type of a manner, until we start speaking in a way that's getting out of our fears, learning to love each other again, not listening to a lot of the BS that's being pushed our way, and privatizing ourselves away. When I say privatizing, that's just what we have to do in the times that we're in to separate ourselves from this beast system, this corporate way of doing shit, But when you privatize, when you quote unquote own your land, and you have a business going that's not contracted to the curriculum of these corporations, you are thus becoming independent. You are thus on your way to creating your own infrastructure. So these are the steps we have to take to do this, to in my opinion, to learn the lesson of love, to follow the word of Yahushua, to really, not be to be set apart from this satanic system. It takes action. It doesn't just mean we have to sit around and fucking with all of our goods that we stored up and hope that, Yahushua comes sooner rather than later. No, that's waiting on somebody to do the work that we were put here, in my opinion, to do. There's a lot of angels here. A lot of work needs to be done. Do you think God created us all just to be here, just for everything to get fucked up, and just for, those that are watching everything get fucked up for years and not to do anything about it? Don't you think you might have some questions like, if you're really about the word and you see all these people suffering, and you've had years to just sit there and think and do, and you got money and you have all these opportunities and you haven't done anything about that, is that really walking like Christ? Is that really walking towards Christ? You got to ask yourself these questions, man. It's stuff I've asked myself too. The word is your salvation. It is all of our salvations, and we are all judged by the Most High. So if you have more, in a sense, you have a duty to give more. I have what I have, and I give what I have, and I'm going to continue to try to give more and get this work done and continue to make videos and put myself out there. I've already said that I'm willing to work, not for paycheck, just to get this hemp thing going, just to help get this love movement going, just to help out God. That's my only intention here. So we need more of that. That is, in my opinion, a very high level of action, of love and action, of really being true and faithful to your word, or, the word of Yahushua. So I think it's time that we, start having more action and